We're live! Welcome back to the one-on-one boxing channel. We're live. It's the first time since October 2022.
Man, saying we're back, bro. Live and direct. You get me?
Boxing's greatest live double act. Probably the boxing's strangest couple, I suppose.
So it works, bro.
Yeah, it works.
You get me?
It works.
It's looking good right now. We'll talk. If you look at the atmosphere right now, it's mad.
How are you feeling this week, Castillo? As we've people who know, if you haven't seen it already, the main event with Castillo and Buatsi and Azeez. There's still time before the show tomorrow. Check it out, bruv. Lock in. Castillo, you've been closer to these fighters, really, than I would say 99.9% of the people in this room. We filmed with them last week, both together and separately. What vibes were you getting from Buatsi and Azeez?
The vibe I kind of got from them was that you can very much tell that they're friends here. And I know that's a bit basic to say that, but it almost feels like they're holding back from really going at each other and disrespecting each other. Because I was waiting for something to be said, but none of that. They've just kept it respectful, and I think they're going to do all the talking tomorrow night, which is why I'm excited.
Now, coming into this fight, I've asked a lot of people this question, who the pressure is on, and everybody seems to come back with Joshua Buatsi, the pressure being on him. Did you get any sense of that with Buatsi? Did you get any sense of him being under pressure for this one?
Do you know what I kind of got from him, and funny enough, Dan said it as well. I know this might be a bit weird to say, but I feel almost like he feels a bit disrespected in a sense where almost feels like he feels,
just speaking to the mic, bro. It's been a while since we've done this.
My bad. But yeah, like I feel like almost he feels like he's been underestimated, and I feel that in abundance. He feels like he's underestimated, almost like you're not on my level kind of thing, but he's not saying it, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from him. That's why he's kind of got that silent thing about it, kind of like, I'm not going to say it, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to say it. You can see in his eyes he don't want to give away too much. But even when he looks at Dan, it kind of looks like master and student at the same time, kind of like, man's done this before bare times. We've been in the ring together, and man's bust you up a few times. Yeah, so behave yourself. That's the vibe I'm getting from him.
Yeah, that's what Joshua Buatsi said it a lot. Though, when people are talking to him about the sparring sessions, he's talking about, once we get the little gloves on, it's going to be different. Once we get the little gloves on, I'm looking forward to it. So he definitely has that air of somebody who's very, very confident. Obviously shared many, many rounds, as we just see Buddy McGirt there, American trainer who works with Dan Azeez. Probably get Buddy to come over at some point.
A lot of money out here.
He's like jet setting around the world. But Dan Azeez, everybody seems to say the same thing about Dan Azeez. Lovely guy, nice and relaxed, and he kind of reminds us of Chris Bingham-Smith, Josh Warrington, those guys who have taken it step by step by step by step. It seemed as though when we filmed with them last week, Dan was in very relaxed mood, very confident mood, and it seemed just like another day at the office for him.
The funny thing about both of them is kind of even that way, it's kind of seeming like Dan's the good guy and Joshua's the bad guy, which is mad because they're both nice guys. But I've noticed like people have really warmed to Dan Azeez. They really like him, like his personality, the way he's very, very honest to a fault. Like he'll tell you, like in the video, in the interview I did with him, he said he got knocked out in sparring. I mean, he got knocked out.
His first amateur fight, the first 30 seconds.
Honest to a fault, so it's hard not to like. Whereas Buatsi, because he doesn't give a lot away, he kind of just gives off villain vibes. Somebody wrote in the comments, I don't know what it is, I just don't like him. He's a nice guy. There's something about him, I think it's that quiet confidence. But yeah, people are loving Dan right now.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those, isn't it? I think when we said about, like, how did you feel the face-off went, he was like, well, it's the third time we've done this. And you are asking, like, caged animals in fighters to sit across from each other and act like normal, civilized human beings. As much as people kind of think about that, they don't really think about what it goes into being a fighter. Being a fighter is a very, very interesting scenario. How do you think you'd be feeling if you were a week out from a massive fight, Castillo?
Bro, I'm not going to lie to you, I got mad anxiety here, so I might have to get cancelled still. I might have to fake an excuse because you know what it is? Especially when it's your friend as well and they've kind of bested you in a fight before. I just feel like Dan's been through a lot because I feel like he's been through every kind of low that someone can go through in their journey. So I don't think he really fears anything. I don't think he has any kind of nerves about him, which is, to me, I feel like you asked about the pressure for tomorrow. I actually think it's going to be more on Joshua because Dan just feels, I feel like he's played the scenario out a million times in his head. I feel like he feels like at some point this moment would come. Whereas Buatsi, I feel like it's kind of maybe kind of overlooked Dan. Didn't think he'd ever be here in front of him. So now it's crunch time, and I feel like Dan is ready for this. But me, bro, like, yeah, man. Nah, bro. Do you know what? Yeah, I got like a little strategy. Like when I used to train boxing, yeah, I would just forget all the training and just go and try and knock man out still. It didn't work yet, but bruv, the anxiety got the best of me, innit, bruv? Big man thing.
What's the going on here? Because I think the last time we did our live stream, we were calling all the smokes for anybody to step in the ring with you in the Misfits scene, and it seems like nobody wants it.
Bruv, I heard the Misfits man are paying people 200 pesos, bruv. They're paying man in Russian rubles over there, bruv. So I'm good still. Like, you get me? They need to get the peas, bruv. I'm not sure. If I get sparked, bruv, it's going to be for money. You get me? Man's not getting sparked for 5 bags, bruv. What is this? That's mad. I might as well go back on the universal credit, bruv. What is this?
The first 30 seconds in front of his people.
At least he's on the way. I'll just be having a one-off, get knocked out, and get 20 pesos, bruv.
Now, the winner of this fight is seemingly set to challenge for a world title. Now, we know at light heavyweight, you've got 2 very, very good fighters, very different fighters and what they bring to the table, and Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. It seems as though that fight's going to happen for the undisputed light heavyweight title. I know you're a big fan of both guys. How do you see that happening? How do you see that playing out, Beterbiev and Bivol?
Do you know what? Beterbiev versus Bivol or both? Do you know what? That one is a mad one. Yeah, I'm honestly gotta go with. I know this is gonna sound a bit mad. I'm gonna go with Bivol. You know. Do you know what it is?
I didn't expect that from you.
No, do you know what it is? Yeah. You know when somebody is so feared and they're so like the boogeyman or something. I just feel like on the other side, when we're not talking about the other guy, you got to worry about that. Nobody really ever talks about Bivol. They more talk about Beterbiev, and I feel like Bivol's a silent killer, bro. You get me? There's a reason why he is who he is. Like what he did to Canelo was mad. He made Canelo look like Tito Trinidad when he fought Winky Wright, man. Just getting mashed up easily. So I think Bivol's a madman, a silent madman.
So we're gonna have to disagree on that one. It's gonna be I'm gonna go for Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev, like this kind of notion that Beterbiev has been on the decline. I don't really see much evidence of that. I think everyone looked at the Anthony Yarde fight like Anthony Yarde's not a good fighter. Anthony Yarde's a very good fighter, and the skills and attributes he brings to the table gave Beterbiev some problems early in the fight, but ultimately he did get stopped pretty much halfway through the fight. So I think Beterbiev wins, but we'll have to see, man. We'll have to.
With Yarde, I think Yarde did really, really well in that fight. Yeah. I feel like he's a nightmare for anybody. If he was to fight Buatsi or Azeez, that could go either way. Because one thing I really love about Anthony Yarde is that he never gives up. Like literally, he fights till he's out of breath. Like that fight versus Kovalev. Yeah. Man was literally just fighting on vibes, bro. Literally, there was nothing else. Man just was fighting on vibes. That was it, bro. His cane rose was messed up. He was tired, bro. It was just vibes. And he did the thing, so I can't. I'm always gonna root for Anthony Yarde, and I'm always excited to watch him fight. Anytime Anthony Yarde fights, I want to watch him.
Just alongside those names, Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, there's a lot of talk about. I mean, it's a fight that has been discussed for a long time. Anthony Yarde versus Joshua Buatsi. Obviously, Joshua Buatsi does have to get past Dan Azeez tomorrow, which isn't a given. It's a hard fight, but if he does get past Dan Azeez tomorrow night, I'm sure Dan Azeez will have his own plans and ambitions. Yarde versus Buatsi, that's a big one, isn't it?
That's 100%. Like I think with Anthony Yarde, when he fought especially Lyndon Arthur, you can shout to Lyndon Arthur. Like I feel when he came back and he won in that fashion, I feel like he's quite similar to Dan in a sense where he really is like a grafter. Like he really is trying to win. He's not one of those people that's trying to post out there or just collect a paycheck. He's really trying to win out there. Like it would have been nice to see him. It'd be nice to see him in Saudi, bro. I'm plugging you, bro. You get me? Excellency, shout out to Yarde, bro. You get me? Getting that money, bro. You get me? It'll be worth your while. It'll be very entertaining. But Yarde versus Buatsi, I feel like for that one, I'd have to see how tomorrow goes because I feel we'll be able to tell a lot about how good Buatsi is tomorrow. Like, because what's your opinion on people even saying that Buatsi's been really, really inactive?
Well, he's not been the most active, and that's been something that's been throughout his career. It's not really a recent thing. You know, he's had little niggles and injuries throughout his career, and you know, a lot of fighters do kind of fight through injuries, and I'm sure tomorrow night, obviously I've not had anything, so I'm not trying to, this isn't like anything that's based on anything, but I'm sure both fighters have got, you know, a sore bicep or a little bit of a sore back, and we've got to swap microphones. Get the new mic up. By the way, as well, I forgot to mention.
Shut on the thing, bro. Man's trying to get me on some "you've been framed" thing right now, bro. Bust my head on some fail army thing.
While I've got everybody, Jake, if you're watching, or Ryan, if you're watching, can you jump in and do the tags, please? Lead with Castillo. Castillo first in the tags because everyone wants to see this man.
What's tabs?
The YouTube tab. The YouTube tags.
Oh, got you.
Not doing the back office thing here. We're rough and ready. Always on one.
Also, we got super chats on this.
I think so. Yeah, we have got super chats
Donate
now.
some peas, bruv. Also, look, do you know what we should do here? If we got questions, I don't know, we could get this somehow. Somebody needs to feed questions that they want us to ask you about. Literally 20 out, bruv. 20 up. You want to ask a question, bruv? £20, bruv. We'll ask a question.
It's usually Jordan's job, but Jordan's having a little chin wag with Shane McGuigan over there, who of course trainer of Adam Azim. Sounds like your mate Big Mo
Big man sing.
is getting us started.
I'm gassed, bruv. I met Big Mo today, bruv.
You love it, John. You really like ring announcers. You love Diamante when you met him as well.
Do you know what, yeah? Them man really hype up the fight and really get you in the mood. Like, I've seen some ring announcers and, bruv, you only get a dead ring announcer, bruv. You're like, bruv, what are you really doing, bruv? You need to get a job at Boots, cuz. Love it.
We had a few comments on that on the main event. Remember, watch the main event. Castillo, Buatsi, Azeez, live now on 101. But we had a few comments on there, and it was like, Castillo should be a ring announcer on his way to. Let's get ready to rumble,
Big
bruv.
man ting. That's what I'm saying. Misfits need to shout me, bruv. Get the money right, bruv. I'm there, bruv. Big man ting. Anyway.
Like, this might upset some people. I know you, Big Mo's now your friend and you spoke to him, but who's your favourite ring announcer?
Is the UFC man a fake man?
I
Like,
can't have a UFC man. This is
no, I'm not
one-on-one
saying that.
boxing.
I'm trying to think. Is his name? Is it Bruce Buffer?
That's Bruce Buffer. Michael Buffer's like the OG one.
Okay, Michael Buffer is the guy, but Big Mo's coming up soon. But Michael Buffer, like, bruv, he's the guy. They're actually brothers in real life as well.
Yeah,
No, they're
it's like
actually
a
brothers.
mad story, like years and years in the future. So I don't actually know the full extent of the story, but they didn't realise that until they were like, both grown, successful guys. Yeah.
That's kind of mad though. Bruce kind of trying like still man shine, bro. Like get your own thing though. That's a bit weird still. Like I was thinking, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was kind of like some Fugazi thing. They got the Check It Douglas Stand music in the background, bro. It's a bit mad, but it's hard still. But I thought they were trying to do some McDowell's type thing. Like I thought it was a fake man. But he's the real deal.
As we wait for Francesca Hennessey to hit the scales today, coming out of Seven Oaks. One of my favourite ring entrances of 2023 was Francesca Hennessey walking down to the ring to Ghetto Superstar. She's from Seven Oaks, bruv.
I saw you comment that, man. You're not making no bridges in this studio.
I thought it was great.
I was going to retweet that, but I didn't want to be a dickhead in it.
So I'm always quite happy to be the
Where is
judge.
7 Oaks? Mad thing. They got a lot of nitties up there, though, innit?
I don't know. Shout out Kent. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Shout out to all the
Everybody
nitties
from
in Kent, man. You get me, man. Mad thing. I didn't know it was mad like that up in Kent, but yeah, man.
So how are you finding being back around Fight Week? Because this, as I mentioned at the start, this is the first time we've done it live. I know like we've been to a couple of shows, so we haven't really done too much, but like you've been as involved with this Fight Week as I have, as pretty much anybody else in the media has been. How's it been being around big time boxing again?
Do you know what? Yeah, this feels great being on this live, especially around this atmosphere, because I came here like, I think 2022 with Link Up TV, bro. The staff then weren't treating us nice, bruv. I felt like the help, bruv. It was mad. I was on some Kunta Kente thing, bruv. They was moving mad. And I got robbed, bruv. You get me? White man co-sign. Come on, bruv. Yeah, so literally now, I get the full proper atmosphere now, bruv. I'm meeting people. I met Ben Shalom. He was really cool, you get me? It's not nice as well, bruv. I need to find out that aftershave, but I met a lot of big people in the boxing scene. You know what I'm trying to say? There's even people I don't even know they're big like that, but they're very, very big. I met a guy from the
British Boxing Border Control. Shout out Dan Frost.
Yes, bro. Dan Frost, bro.
Big fan, big friend of the channel.
Are those the man them handling Conor Ben's thing?
Yeah, well, he's not specifically doing it, but he's one of them. Obviously, we've got like lots of different British Boxing Border Control representatives scattered around the place here at Wembley. Starting to fill up quite nice. It's very hot today, isn't it?
Yeah,
Very hot,
it's mad hot
sweaty.
still, bro. I'm always hot still, but you get me, bro. Shout out to the gal I'm watching on the stream. Come on. I know you're out there.
Let's talk about some of the other fights that we're going to see tomorrow night. First of all, Adam Azim. You met Adam Azim's dad earlier,
Bruv,
which is always very interesting.
Shout out to Adam Azim's dad as well, bro. Serious man. I always think to myself, like, it must be such a proud moment for a dad to watch their son doing these things on a big stage and like allowing him to have that moment. Not like Tio's dad, bro. Tio's dad, he's trying to fight a man, bro. It's mad. But yeah, bro, shout out to him as
To be
well.
fair, I do quite love a mad dad in boxing. I think it brings something to the table. Like,
100%.
it's just another random extra bit. I used to like it when Angel Garcia's dad, Danny Garcia's dad, just come out and go completely crazy. Don't get me wrong, there's certain things that you shouldn't really overstep, but I quite like a mad dad, I have to say.
Who's that guy that was cussing Floyd Mayweather? And he kept on
So
going.
that was Robert Guerrero's dad.
The guy that was like, woman beat a baby?
Yeah.
That guy was
Beat
crazy.
up the guy, beat up his wife. Man, anyway, let's move past domestic violence and move back to the boxing.
That guy was nuts, but yeah,
He
it's
was
nice to
nuts.
meet boxing dads as well. But shout out to Adam Azim's dad. Like literally, like I said, it must be a proud moment to watch your son do this on a big stage. He said this is the fourth time that Adam's gonna box at Wembley, which is a big deal. Wembley Stadium, bruv.
Wembley Arena, bruv.
Wembley Arena, bruv. Yeah, that's all of that, bruv. Same thing, cuz. Yeah, but some of you might have even been in Wembley, bruv. But see, I'm trying to say, come on.
Maybe one day we get Azim against Teofimo Lopez or Ryan Garcia at Wembley Stadium.
Of course, bruv. Of course.
But he's over there. Oh, he's just moved around the back. Actually, I think he's about to weigh in. Are you glad when you come to? Because you mentioned something to me before we got started about like all of these like they don't look the same or like they don't look as on the poster. How glad are you on a scale of 1 to 10 that you don't have to make weight? Because I know you lost a lot of weight last year, but the weight lost in this is slightly different.
Do you know what, yeah? We've got a guy in the background, bruv. I don't know what he's on, bruv. It looks like he's trying to be a pagan to our stream, bruv.
No, he's all right. I think he's asking for a favour with the microphone. I'm not sure whether or not we have one spare. It's for TalkSport. It's for TalkSport and the guys there. It's for the second best combat sports podcast in boxing. The second best. Shout out the boxing show every time.
Up with the stream,
we can't give him the mic, bruv. You got to pay, bruv. You got to pay. Anyway, we can't mention TalkSport anyway. No free promotion.
Yeah, bruv.
No promotion.
No promo for them, bruv.
Adam Azim, as you see, he's got like you can always spot like all the tracksuits and everything like that. It's always a good vibe and always a good look when you have lots of people there. We've got Konstantin Dobyshenko over there, so this is their heavyweight win. And you've got Jeamie TKV, who trains out of Ben Davison's gym in Harlow, which where we were yesterday. About to hit the scales. This is an interesting fight. Jeamie TKV had a lot of sort of hype around him and potential opponent for Fraser Clarke and a few others. Got stopped. Well, I think he got dropped and got beat in his last fight. I can't remember if he got stopped. I wasn't there. But this is an interesting fight for him as he hits the scales. Jeamie TKV.
These men are huge, man.
Yeah,
these are some big guys.
We'll get a heavyweight over in a bit. Speaking of heavyweights, Dean White's just arrived in the place.
Big man saying what Dean White, bruv, he's whammy though. That's a big dude. Every time he walks in the room, he just imposes himself, bruv.
Just got a shadow cast on you every time.
The big man has like entry to the thing. He just walks in, bruv. Like literally just whammy. That's his pass. He's being wedged. That's it. It's a wedge black brother. Just comes through like, yeah, bruv.
Yeah, no one's gonna stop him. No one's gonna ask to see his credentials, are they?
Big man thing. But you asked me about the weight for Adam Azim. One thing I always think to myself is that the fighters look completely different on the way into fight night. How much? My bad, bruv. My bad. Sorry, people. But literally, how much weight can a fighter gain from the weigh-in to the actual fight night?
I mean, like if you look at Devin Haney's last fight was 140 pounds. By all accounts, he came into the ring on fight night at 165. So that's 25 pounds.
Yeah, Devin Haney's weigh-ins are always concerning, bruv. Man looks.
You know, like you get those things like when you're a kid, you get those like flannels, they're like the little packs, and you put a bit of water on it, and they just go like that.
Yeah, it's looking scary, bruv. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever we see Haney on them, man, it's not looking good, man.
But like weight making and sort of weight cutting is still one of the last taboos in boxing. People always talk about performance enhancing drugs, but weight making is sort of another strange thing. Like you get fighters, like sometimes fighters will weigh in at 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning on the Friday, and then they have basically a day and a half to rehydrate. So somebody like Devin Haney can make 140 pounds at 8 o'clock in the morning on the Friday. They have the ceremonial weigh-in, which is where they've had a drink and have had some food and they're okay. And then by the time he gets in the ring the next day, he's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, you've got in the Devin Haney Lomachenko fight and the Devin Haney Regis Prograis fight, you've got a 15-20 pound weight difference. So it's crazy.
So for the people that don't know, you can't get penalized, but you can come in at any weight after the weigh-in.
It depends.
Is there a limit?
So sometimes there's a limit. The IBF used to have what was a 10 pound rehydration. It's now slightly different depending on what weight is. I think up to cruiserweight is like 12 pounds or something, like just over 12 pounds. But it depends. Like sometimes you'll have like rehydration clauses, like when Gervonta Davis boxed Ryan Garcia. It was made a catch weight, and then there was a rehydration limit that Ryan Garcia couldn't be above. I'm not a huge fan of stuff. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of stuff like that. I don't think you should be really limiting people's ability to rehydrate. Once somebody, particularly when you consider how much weight fighters do lose, and having to pile that all back on, because otherwise they're going to have to make weight again, and that's when you start getting into risk of brain injuries and stuff. No fluid around the brain.
And so I remember with Chris Eubank, 2022 was it when he cut weight? He looked. That man was like 1% body fat, bruv. It was scary out.
And I think that had a big something to do with the way he got stopped by Liam Smith, for the fact that he looked vulnerable in that fight.
Was it an elbow or something? They said.
Yeah, but again, even still, like he was hurt by shots, and like removing the elbow out of the situation, you know.
My guy was doing a migraine skank in that fight, bro. That's it. It was mad, bro. But I'm glad he recovered after that, bro. Shout out to Chris Eubank Jr. and that Louis Vuitton jacket, bro. Everywhere.
He looked like a human purse, didn't he? Just like walking through. He looked like, you know, when you're over your baggage limit when you're at the airport and you start putting like jumpers on and stuff like that. It just looked like you did that.
That jacket, so it's got that little bag thing. It's got the WMDs in there, bro. So mad thing still. Shout out to that jacket, bro.
Another fighter that I'd like to talk to you about is boxing tomorrow night. Somebody who, like yourself, is still a bit of a viral star. Somebody who evokes a lot of responses, both good and bad. I mean, yours is always good, but both good and bad for him. Ben Whittaker, light heavyweight. He's got all of the drip, all of the bling, all of the hype. You're looking forward to seeing him box tomorrow night?
100%. Do you know what the thing about Ben Whittaker is? A lot of people don't really like cocky fighters and people that are show-offs or showboats.
Especially over here.
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with being confident in your ability, and at the same time as well, you gotta give something to the audience. Otherwise, it's good to be respectful and professional, but the average person on the street they don't really see anything. But if you give someone a character they can dislike or someone they can root against, it's still something. It's better to be spoken about than not spoken about at all, especially in boxing.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, sort of following that point really, people like nowadays boxing has become like, you know, there's nothing more boring than like a footballer's post-match interview where they go, well, you know, it's all about the team and we're going about it. Mate, like, boxing is not football. This is a combat sport. It's not a mainstream sport. You have to get people talking about you, whether it's good, whether it's bad. The flip side to that argument, which is I think what pisses a lot of people off with Ben Whitt, is that the level that he's doing at isn't the highest of levels. But his answer to that, and I've seen this and experienced this when he boxed as an amateur, he's done it against the best guys in the world, from Russia, from Cuba, from all over the place. So he can do it, but it just feels like when Ben Whittaker kind of made his professional debut, he was talking about fighting Dan Azeez within his first 5 fights. Obviously, that hasn't happened. He's been unfortunate with injuries and time out of the ring. I feel like we need to see a statement from him tomorrow against Khalid Gradio. He's a tough guy, but when you're Ben Whittaker's level, we need to see those statements. Like knockout that he got on the Chris Bruce with Mateus Masanak undercard in December was great. We need to see more of the same tomorrow night, I think.
Do you know the thing is, I see what you mean about the people don't really like it when people like spark out people that aren't on their level and they're showboat. It's like if you're knocking out delivery drivers and that, bro. Like people don't really like them things. You get me? Like you're knocking out the Uber man, and then you're doing press ups after. It's a bit mad, but at the same time, it invokes a reaction from you. So like if I see someone spark out the Uber man and then he does a backflip after, I'm like, yo, bro. I'll still watch your next thing. You know what I'm trying to say? Because a lot of the time, I feel like it's okay to be excited and do the most after you win, bro. If I knock somebody up, I might be gassed, bro. So I can't blame him. And it is entertaining. And at the end of the day, it's one of those things where there's going to be some people that just want to see him lose. And that's good in itself, too.
And that's the thing. Like, people always talk about Mayweather and how people look at Mayweather and kind of they tuned in to watch him get beat and stuff. So it does evoke reaction. Let's talk about the fight that's been, well, the face-off that's going on behind us between Caroline Dubois. A little bit of verbals there. We like a bit of verbals at the weigh-in, man. We like a bit of that. Yeah, we're up for a bit of that. We like a bit of nastiness at the weigh-ins. Caroline Dubois, Castillo, widely considered to be big woman thing, widely considered to be the future of women's boxing.
Yes.
A very, very capable fighter and somebody who, my own personal opinion, I'm going to be cancelled out here, my own personal opinion is that boxing, female boxing, has been crying out for that devastating puncher. The UFC, MMA had Ronda Rousey, someone who can go in there and knock somebody out. And I think Boxer and Sky Sports might have that person, that female in Caroline Dubois.
Big man thing, like literally, you got to give the women boxers their credit, bruv, literally, because like, bruv, that's Daniel Dubois' sister, bruv. That's all you need to know. She's a serious gal. You get me, bruv? There's a lot of men, they feel a way about like women's boxing, but bruv, you man will get knocked out, bruv. Shout out to man like Joey Barton. She'll knock you out, bruv. I'm just saying, bruv. No shout out to you, but she'll spark you, bruv. I'm just saying.
There we go. Coming up soon on One-on-One Boxing, Caroline Dubois versus Joey Barton.
Yeah, bruv.
If you want to see that, let us know in the comments who you think wins. Will it be Caroline Dubois? Will it be Joey Barton? Let us know.
No shout out to you, bruv.
No shout out to Joey Barton,
big
bruv. You stand there. You go to TalkSport, bruv, the second best combat sports podcast in boxing. You go over there. This is the gold standard.
They know, bruv. The gold standard.
Here.
Big man thing.
As we wait for the next fight to weigh in, Caroline Dubois just waiting to speak to Andy Scott. We've got a few people floating around here in the background. There's Ben Whittaker's dad over there, Tony. I'm going to try and get a few people to join us, Castillo.
So how close is Caroline Dubois to the big level.
Well, the thing is, with female boxing, there isn't the depth there that there is in the men's code. So, you do see fighters. We've seen Nina Hughes, for example, become world champion after 5 fights. It's not when you're at that level, which Caroline Dubois is, and you're as talented as she is, and have the amateur credentials and all of that. You can find yourself fighting for a world title within 10 fights, and it's normal. In the pro game, in the men's pro game rather, it's not always like that. Lomachenko is the exception to the rule. He's not the real rule, So I think that there are certainly world champions that Caroline Dubois would beat now. She's mandatory for the IBF. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's a bit techie between the promoters and Boxer and Matchroom and stuff. But I think she's there and she's ready to go. You speak to Chris Smith, Shane McGuigan, everybody who's in the gym with her every day, and they all speak about her like she is going to be that next big superstar, not only in female boxing, but across as a crossover star. Forget female boxing. I know something that we've heard an awful lot in the last couple of years. It's not female boxing, it's normal boxing. But Caroline Dubois, I think, could be that one who crosses over, and a lot of it, I think, is predicated on the fact that she can punch.
100%. Like, they've got a lot of rising stars in for, not even rising stars, actual certified stars in women boxing, like people like Clarissa Shields, you get me? So I feel like they're really putting on the map, bro, because I'm excited whenever they're boxing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I don't think we're really going to see like the true benefit of it until 10, 15, 20 years down the line, when you start to see like not even the next generation, the generation after that talking about that. But as we get ready now for Ben Whittaker, your mate Big Mo, very loud, Big Man Ting, about to introduce Ben Whittaker to the scales.
Right.
If you were on the scales, would you like what would it be? Would you come on with the drip? Would you come on with like? I used to really like. Don't get me wrong, like not everybody did, but I used to like when Adrian Brony used to go up on the scales and like drink a can of soda and stuff like that. Just all that kind of. Well, it's all theatre, isn't it? It's all kind of adds to it. And again, what we were talking about earlier creates those talking points.
I'm not gonna. I always like the weigh-ins and I always like these moments, but I think if I was there in the face-to-face thing, I'd have to push, man. You get me? But just to start some trouble. I feel like that always makes it more exciting, bro, when you see stuff like that, bro. I love it. 12 stones. Bro, do you know the thing I always get surprised by is how when you hear 12 stone, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you see some of these guys in person, they're huge.
That's it again, talking about the weight making. A lot of these guys are having to cram themselves into whatever weight they're fighting at, guys and girls, of course. So I think Adam Azim is 140 pounder, he's 10 stone, but he has to work to get down to 10 stone, and then once he has a drink and has a food, he's not 10 stone for very long.
Even speaking about someone like Buatsi as well, like when I saw him in the flesh, I didn't even realize he was 6'2". But he's like a solid 175, just all completely lean. He said he walks around I think he told me he walks around about 14 and a half stone there.
As we go here, Ben Whittaker.
Big man too.
Ben Whittaker with a little bit of a strut to the stage. Here he goes with his trainer in tow, Joby Clayton. Of course, trained as well by Sugar Hill Stewart, trainer of Tyson Fury, among others, but not here this week. Sugar Hill, I think he's out in Saudi Arabia. Ben Whittaker looking, as he always does,
completely lean, bro,
in tremendous physical condition.
And that's another thing as well. If you look the part and you work hard, you can kind of talk a bit of madness. You can just say if you work hard for it, just like Mayweather did. He always backed up his talk and he always looked in great shape, just like Ben right now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I could get up on the stage and start talking to anybody. I don't think I'm really built for that.
Shout out to TGI Fridays, man.
Ben Whittaker, 12 stone, 7 stone, bang on the 175-pound limit.
How tall is Ben Whittaker?
I think he's like 6'2", 6'3" as well. He's another guy as well like Buatsi, who, when you look at him, because I've sort of had this conversation with Ben Whittaker and with Sugar Hill about whether or not he might be able to do super middleweight and just maybe cram himself in to the weight below. But he is a lean guy, and like different body types paint a different picture. You look at Dan Azeez. Dan Azeez is very muscular. Dan Azeez has got he looks built, whereas Buatsi's very slender. But when they both go in the ring, Buatsi, that slender style, it's easier to sort of pack the weight onto that, if that makes sense.
Buatsi just looks slightly bigger than Azeez, just a little bit, because it's a bit wider. I think it's probably because of the shoulders. I'm just like, but even Azeez, for example, he's got the exact same frame as someone like Marvin Hagler, 5'10", very durable. I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good fight as we see Ben Whittaker and Khalid Gradier facing off here. Khalid Gradier, I think Ben Whittaker's got a little bit of unfair criticism around this fight. I think Khalid Gradier, everybody looks at his record, the fact that he's 41 years of age and forgets the fact that this is a very experienced guy.
But he's 41.
41. He looks good. Bro. He looks fucking younger than me.
He's
looking good, bro.
Shout out to the Angelic Chrome, man. Big man thing. Yo.
But anyway, yeah, but Caligradio, like Dan Azeez's last fight was against Caligradio.
It's a big height difference as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, Ben is going to be naturally bigger. Caligradio, I think he's fought at super middleweight in the past. He's boxed super middleweights who have moved up, so he's not like a massive.
I was just about to say, he doesn't look. He's
not massive like heavyweight, but he's experienced. He's physically strong. He's durable. I think Ben Whittaker could go a few rounds. I think if he gets a stoppage, it'd be very impressive. Dan Azeez went 8 rounds with him. Carol Talma, another good light heavyweight prospect, went 8 rounds with him. Zach Parker.
Talma, yes.
That's the difference. That's the other Talma. So that's the younger Talma.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
That was a very good fight. So I think, look, if Ben Whittaker can get a win in good fashion against Caligradio tomorrow night, I think that's fine. I think he's fought 5 fights in, 6 fights in, or whatever it is.
Yeah, he's building, bro.
But again, it's what we were talking about earlier. I think if Ben Whittaker was yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, I don't think people would really criticise this. But because he comes out and he says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and he's got the drip and he's dancing.
I think people are learning a lot from, I think now with the younger boxers, they're seeing, because they've kind of grown up with the social media world, they realize you kind of have to mesh both worlds in order to cross over to people, because there's some guys in Misfits boxing, they're household names to a lot of casual people. These men have never stepped in a ring, and there's guys that have been training their whole life, and people might not recognize who they are. So I understand him tapping into that showboating and creating his own hype. You kind of have to be a lot more than just a boxer these days. You have to kind of be your own promoter, a businessman. You have to kind of do all these days just to get your name out there. So I can't blame him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also worth pointing out that he's a lovely guy. Like, he's a lovely guy away from the cameras, very polite, very pleasant guy, and he understands the game. Like, I think that the intent is for people to take him as they see him on camera, because people want to believe. And that's same with Mayweather. When Mayweather used to do all those 24/7 style stuff and all of those other little bits and pieces, it's evoking emotion, like throwing the cash around and doing all of that. It definitely gets things going.
And do you know what also invokes emotion? Yeah. When people wear like leopard pants in boxing, bro. I don't know what it is naturally. You just dislike them. I don't know what it is. Like when people wear like leather shorts, automatically I want to see them like the leopard shorts. Like, who do you think you are, bro? Wearing leopard shorts. Bro?
What would be your outfit of choice if you were going to box?
I'd wear the mad Danny Williams 3/4 length shorts, bro. This man came in with like 3/4 length jeans up in the boxing world back in the day, bro. They look crazy, bro. Big, but those are nuts, but I'd probably wear those, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I got skinny legs, bro, so go get the 3/4 length Danny Williams shorts.
One of the things that we always get asked is kind of one of the most asked questions around boxing is, if you were going to box Misfits main event, what are you coming out to? Are you going to come out to one of your own shoes?
I come out to my own things, bro. Can't be giving next man promotion, bro. Come out to my thing and tell people to stream that. But I'd have to win though, because imagine me come out and promote my thing, I get knocked out, bro. Nobody streams my bro. It's not looking good.
And here we go. We have the co-main event here, which is, of course, the European super lightweight title being contested by Adam Azim and former champion Enoch Paulson. Enoch Paulson hitting the scales now.
You could definitely tell Adam Azim is destined for greatness, bro. Yeah, 100%.
But Enoch Paulson's an experienced guy. I'm expecting this to be, what's up? That's mine. Yeah, wicked. Bring them all. Bring them all here on One-on-One Boxing. We'll take all of them.
I've seen some great highlights of this guy as well. He's no joke.
Paulson is a good fighter. He's a former European champion in his own right. His last couple of fights, we were talking about the weight. His last couple of fights, 147 pounds. So he's had to come down now to 140, which I do think favours Adam Azim. I think Adam Azim, explosive, physically strong at the weight. I'm looking forward to this fight. I think this is going to be more of a suitable fight for Adam Azim than we've seen in the past. As we're about to see Adam Azim hit the scales. I don't know if people can actually see him hitting the scales.
Big deal, bro. He gets a lot of love. Real talk.
Very, very good fight. Good to watch as well. Somebody 100%. Who can bring the casual audience because they see the speed, they see the power, they see the look.
Everybody's here for him right now, bro.
As you can hear, Adam Azim about to hit the scales.
Shout out to Slough, bro. He's from Slough. Random ends, bro. But yeah, shout out to Slough, bro. He's the most famous on-job man in Slough, bro. Slough's a weird area,
shout out to Slough, bro.
Man thing. The city center's mad when you go Slough, bro. There's nothing there, bro. But yeah.
As we wait for Adam Azim. 10 stone even, so bang on. Championship weight made for Adam the Assassin Azim.
Very good shape, bro. Very good shape.
Looks very, very good. How much are you weighing now? Because you were like...
I think I'm like 11 stone, bro.
So is that more comfortable for you? Because at one point you were...
Yeah, do you know what it is, yeah? I got cheekbones now, bro, so the gal them like it. Yeah, before my face was looking mad unhealthy in that, bro.
You know, like 50 Cent when he had to drop all that weight for that movie, man.
Yeah, no, do you know what the thing is now, yeah? I look all model-esque and sleek, bro. You get me? So it's looking good. You get me? I look good with a top off. If I take this off, it's a maxi. But that's another show.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's for the R-rated coming on one-on-one boxing. That's for the selective
That's
people.
for my LGBT fans, bro. Big man team.
Castillo OnlyFans plug coming soon.
Come on, bro.
As we see Martin Kieran about to cross behind us there.
Yes,
Martin Kieran about to climb and win a header, it looks like.
I like the buzz.
I don't know why Martin Kieran's here. Well, he's a big guy, isn't he? He was a centre-half, wasn't he, back in the day? I think we're gearing up for the main event. Well, not the real main event. This is the real main event. But Boatsi Azeez anyway. Remember to check out Boatsi Azeez on the main event with Castillo. Still live. Still watch it before tomorrow night. Get involved. Get excited for Boatsi Azeez with the main event himself.
Shout out to Big Mo's Taylor as well. That's a nice suit.
Yeah, it's good. It must be difficult as well. Like, to be fair, I could probably do it with a tailor because I'm like,
I can't imagine you in a suit now, Rob. You know that.
Two people, I brush up don't too bad, but here we go. We've got the man. We've got Ben Whittaker.
Let's go. Come on,
Ben Whittaker joining us here.
Come on.
Ben, just jump in the middle. How are you? Always a pleasure. Ben Whittaker joined us here. Ben, as always, looking in tremendous shape on the scales.
You know, looking good, feeling good. And in the words of our man here, for my opponent, it's not looking good, bro.
Big man team, right here, bro. Come on. Bro, you're smelling good right now, bro. For the way in
No, but you know what? I can't shout the plug. They don't sponsor me.
Oh, come on, bro.
No free promotion for you, but you got to pay.
Big man team.
So, Ben, Kelly Grady, I was saying beforehand, and I'm not just saying it because you're here and you'll match me up, but I think that you've attracted a little bit of unfair criticism here for Kelly Grady. Everybody who knows their boxing knows that Kelly Grady is a tough, resolute guy. As you mentioned a couple of days ago, Dan Azeez's last fight was against Kelly Grady, and Dan Azeez's headline this weekend. Do you feel like you've been a little bit unfairly treated?
It's just the way of an Olympian, I think. Sometimes these things happen. They want you rushing. But like I said, the top of the bill fought him last. So, and it's my sixth fight. This is coming up to my sixth fight. So all I can do is put on a performance, dominate more than Azeez did. And then what can I say then?
Castillo, we were talking before Ben joined us over here. We were talking about the drip. We were talking about the showman. We were talking about all of the pizzazz that we've grown to love him for. Talk to Ben about that. What can we expect to see from him?
What shorts you wearing tomorrow, Ben? Because you bought the leopard things, bro. You get people vexed with the leopard thing. I'm not gonna lie.
It was vexed with them ones. But you know, showman, show business. You gotta look good every time.
Yes.
I like to switch the kit every time. So Saturday now I got something special. Same with the ring walk.
That's something else I wanted to ask as well. Like, are you consciously literally building the character of yours to get yourself out there even more?
100%. That's all I think about, truthfully. Of course, you gotta think about the boxing, but it's everything else for me: the kit, the look, the ring walk. Because the thing is with boxing, other than a football, you're your own brand, and if you don't sell yourself right, you get forgotten about.
Big man thing. That's facts right there, bro.
One of the things that we're not going to keep you too long. Obviously, after this, everyone's going to go get their food and go and get watered. Let's talk about the main event. Obviously, some guys that you know well. Joshua Buatsi, of course, former Team GB, alongside yourself. How do you see it playing out, Ben? You're not usually somebody who sits on the fence, no, so don't let us down.
No. I don't usually sit on the fence. I was rooting to more Buatsi, just from the accolades, the experience, but I do know both guys, so 50-50 for me. May the best man win.
Okay, that's him sitting on the fence, but yeah, we're not
tomorrow. What's the prediction for tomorrow? What are you trying to get him out in?
Ooh, that's a good one. A serious beatdown. No, I mean, he had a little grin at me, so I'm going to punish him for that.
Big man thing, bro.
Okay, Ben Whittaker, the surgeon himself, returns to the ring tomorrow night on the undercard of Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez. Thanks very much for joining us. Francesca Hennessey going to come and join us now in the middle. It's not big man ting, it's big woman ting. We've got Francesca Hennessey. All right, Francesca.
Oh, I'm brilliant. Ready to go now.
Ready to go right now. I'm going to get this out of the way first. We spoke about it already on the live stream. Now, the last time you came out to Ghetto Superstar, just how ghetto is Seven Oaks in Kent?
Not ghetto at all. Do you know what? I just like the song. I didn't even think of it. And then after I've got all these comments saying, oh, she thinks she's ghetto. I've had an amazing upbringing. I really wasn't trying to be like that.
No, it worked. It was entertaining.
It was entertaining, wasn't it?
It's the entertainment business. Look, as we spoke about before you joined us, it's all about evoking response and emotion. But with that being said, what's the plan for tomorrow on the ring walk? Don't keep us in suspense.
Obviously, there's dancing. Obviously, moving and grooving. I got a good two songs put together. And yeah, a bit of old school in there, so that's what I love.
So give us a hint. What's the entrance music tomorrow?
I can't give you a hint. I can't give you a hint.
The entrance music
I want to talk to you about, obviously, your very early stages of your career. One person who I do want to talk about is just standing there, Bradley Skeet, the one and only Penge's finest. What's it like having Bradley, somebody who's very experienced, he's been there, seen it and done it, in your corner of this early stage of your professional career? Big up Bradley Skeet.
Come on.
It's amazing, you know. It's great to have experience around you, and you can really feel it when you've got someone experienced around you. It calms me down before my fights because he's been there. He knows what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, and it's great to have that experience around me, definitely.
Another thing that I want to talk to you about, obviously you are at Hennessey. You're carrying on the true lineage of the Hennessey boxing clan, so to speak. Obviously your dad, I've seen your brother around here as well. What's it like growing up like properly in boxing? Because I'd imagine you knew about boxing pretty much before anything else.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm used to this pro scene. I've been around it my whole life. I've been in all the events, and yeah, so I'm used to it. That's why I think I fit so comfortably into this scene because I've been around it my whole life.
And how are you feeling tomorrow about boxing in Wembley?
It's amazing. It's a dream come true for me since I've been a young girl. It's absolutely amazing. On a great card as well, may I say. So I'm so excited.
And one of the things we've been talking about is obviously we are at the weigh-in. You see a lot of very hungry, very dehydrated people walking around the weigh-ins as we always do. You're looking good though, but what's the post-fight weigh-in meal?
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. So I made my weight. I was bantamweight, but my opponent came in heavy, and I got told that earlier. So I was actually allowed to eat before the weigh-in.
Yo!
So I ate before the weigh-in. So
That's why she's smiling.
I'm a true professional, though. I make the weight, you know. So it's not looking good, bro, for her tomorrow.
You heard it here, bruv. It's not looking good tomorrow, bruv.
Okay, Francesca, before we let you go, final word with you. What can we expect to see when you return to the ring tomorrow night?
Fireworks. Every time I'm in the ring, expect to be entertained.
There we go.
Big man thing,
The
lock in
ghetto of
tomorrow,
Seven
bruv.
Oaks
It's
is
going to be a mad one.
finest right here, Francesca Hennessey.
Look out for the entrance music tomorrow,
Thanks very
bruv.
much for joining us. As she shoots off, again, big up Bradley Ski, one of the best men in boxing. Always looking out for Bradley Ski here on One on One. So here we go, guys. We've got people moving around here. Ben Shalom's over there. I think we're waiting for that main event now.
I'm excited. I'm even more excited about tomorrow, bruv. The atmosphere.
Yeah, I don't want to jump up too much. It's really hot in here.
Bruv, it's all good, bruv. It's all good.
We're literally
looking
standing
good today, bruv.
There we go. As we just wait for Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez to hit the scales, having a look around. I think Ben,
Are we allowed to
Mr.
shout
Ben
the
Shalom,
sponsors today,
are we going to be joined by the main man?
Ben Shalom
The
coming
main
through.
man, Ben
Yes,
Shalom.
bruv. Come on, bruv.
In the place,
Yes.
in the middle. Here he goes. How are you, Ben?
I'm very, very well. It's unusual to have a gap in a weigh-in like this, but Dan's on his way. Hopefully he'll be here soon. Typical Dan Azeez.
Yeah, what do we think? Is that their gamesmanship, do you think?
Maybe. You know what? When Dan Azeez, when we did the first press conference, do you remember when he came in with the war hat and the energy was different? But over this period, and especially this fight, he's just come out of his shell, and it seemed like he's gone from the conservative one to now the one on the front foot. It's quite interesting to see, but I'm sure he'll be here soon. I know, look, the weight, championship weight for both of them is a real thing. So
now, of course, this fight was delayed. I mean, you mentioned in there, I think as it's grown, there's been a little bit more kind of angst. And obviously, we saw the live face-off yesterday. Do you think that's just these guys are, as you know, they're both consummate professionals. They want to get in there, want to trade that leather. But I think they're a bit sick of talking to each other now, Ben. Do you get that feeling?
it's definitely tense. It's definitely intense as well. I know there's been different people in the camps, and I know one person got taken out of the camp because he was too close to someone else, and there's just an intensity to it because not just because of who they are, just how much it now means to them. You know, this fight got delayed. It's number one against number two. The one that loses might never get that world title opportunity. I just think everything culminating now, and Dan Azeez coming out of his shell. Buatsi's slightly tense and pissed off that it's delayed, and pissed off because he thinks the world's against him, which I love him for. I do love him for. And I just want them both to get in there and give a great account for themselves, because this is the biggest stage Dan Azeez has ever been 100%. On. But also for Buatsi, the inactivity, at what point do you start to second guess? I want to see the old Joshua Buatsi against the latest Dan Azeez, and then we're going to get a great fight.
I've got to say this as well, bro. Ben, I'm not going to lie, bro. You're a lot bigger than I thought, you know, bro. Yeah. There's a lot of men on the comments shouting breeze, bro. But Ben's a big dude. I'm not going to lie. You can see me. You see the size. You shook my hand, bro. You let me know, bro. It's mad. Big man thing.
Not as big as others. Not as big. I think Eddie's about 6'5", 6'6". But yeah, I think. How tall are you?
So I'm about 6 foot. I'm 6 foot tall and 5 foot wide.
I'm about 6'5". No, I'm about 6'5", bro. 6'5", man. Come on, 6'5". About 6'5", bro. Come on. In a misfits thing, you versus Eddie, bro. What we saying?
He's a big guy, but I'm a young guy, so...
Big man thing, bruv.
I think,
Ben, you just touched upon there about Joshua Buatsi's mental state coming into this. It's something that came up in the main event. Check it out, the main event, Castillo Buatsi and Azeez.
What did you think about that as well, bro? We got to get the cosign from you.
I was just going to say, I've told my content team that they're swapping with your content team, and they were completely.
Some man got fired today, bro. I'm just saying. Some man got fired.
Rob's responsible for it, but no, it was good. It was really good.
We got some content with you as well coming up on the channel as well.
Yeah, we're doing a day in the life of today with Boxing News.
Come on.
Shout out Ben over there. Well, we're going to let you go because I think he's being dragged away, Ben. Thanks very much for stopping by. I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Come on, love my G.
Only bringing you the biggest here on one-on-one boxing. Ben Shalom. First time you met him, isn't it?
First time, bro. But like I said, you know when you're online, bro, and you chat breeze and comments, and then you see man in real life, and you're like, oh, the energy's a bit different, bro. I keep my energy though. I keep the energy the same all the time, cause you get me saying, bro.
So you've been close to him, you've been close to Eddie Hearn. Now he's gone out of the way and he can't tell us off. Who do you think wins? I think we've got Adam Azim actually, so we'll go back and talk about Eddie Hearn versus Ben Shalom soon. I think actually he's doing boxing, so we'll talk about it now. You've been with Eddie, you've been with Ben. Who wins?
Eddie's been like working out there, you know, bruv. Eddie, I don't know what Eddie's been doing. He's been drinking Evian, bruv. He looks like 20 years younger, bruv. He ain't got no grey hair no more, bruv. Man looks young.
He's been on the scrambled eggs.
Big man, the steak and egg guy, bruv. But Ben is a bit younger, bruv, but he might have the gusto, bruv.
And we've got the one and only Mr. Adam Azim. Adam. Bring your water,
man. Bring water.
Always nice and casual here, Adam. You're all good. Come and stand in the middle. How are you, Adam?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thanks very well. Let's get it straight out of the way first. You've weighed in now. How relieved are you? You've made weight. You can now refuel and get ready for the fight tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm relieved now. I had some sip of water, some carbs in me. So yeah, looking forward to the fight now. Yeah.
Now Castillo here, as well as being a rapper, a viral sensation, and a boxing aficionado, is a big fan of yours, Adam. Isn't that right, Castillo?
I was gonna say you've got a big. I know man them up in Birmingham up north, but you've got a big fan base up in Birmingham. Is there any plans for the future of boxing up there?
Yeah, definitely. Like I did fight in Wolverhampton my last fight.
Yes.
I did want to fight in Birmingham at that time, but hopefully end of this year or mid this year I want to fight in Birmingham. So getting the fans out there and
look out for that, people.
Adam, in your last few fights, you've boxed guys who haven't really, with respect to them, come to win. They've not come and giving you anything to work off. You're a great counter puncher. You've got lots of speed and lots of power. Enoch Paulson, though, looks like somebody who might be a little bit more aggressive. Do you think that's going to work to your favour?
To be honest, all the fighters I'll fight, when they fight against me, it's difficult to fight against me. It's either they're all coming to win. They all come and be like, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But when I step in the ring, it's hard for them to touch me. So.
And one of the things that I've always spoken about, we've spoken to you about in the past, is over here, it's what we were talking about earlier, where you get fighters, who do you want to fight next? Well, I leave it to my team and we do this. You're very open about it. You want to fight the best fighters in the world, take on the biggest challenges in the world, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. I'm not fearing no one. The only thing I fear is, God, which is Allah. And, I'm ready to take anyone.
You're literally one of the biggest rising stars in boxing right now. So I've got to ask you, how has that been for you? How life-changing has it been for you?
It's great. I don't let it get to my head. I keep focused, keep training hard, keep winning, and be an idol for those youngsters that want to, build up and become a boxer themselves.
The final one for us, Adam, because I know you'll be desperate to go and get some food in you and some water. Talk to me about the main event, Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez. Friends turned enemies, both unbeaten, world-class light heavyweights. Put you on the spot, Adam. Who's going to win?
Well, Dan Azeez is a very good friend of mine, so I'm going to go with Dan Azeez. So,
that's fine. We're not going to tell him off anyway. It's Adam Azim. We don't want to get hit.
Before he goes as well, bro, that's the cleanest shape-up I've ever seen, bro. Your father's a G, but shout out to my father.
Shout out to my father, bro.
Big man thing is clean, bro. He's looking HD right now, 4K. Come on, bro. Come on. You already know, bro.
My trim's done.
Your trim looks terrible, bro.
Thanks very much, Adam Azim, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on One-on-One Boxing. Adam Azim, the future of the super lightweight division, the future arguably of British boxing, Castillo.
100%, bro. Like, I had to compliment the trim, bro. It's looking 4K, bro. I'm just saying.
It's terrible because I've got to that stage now where, even when I look back at the one that we did for Eubank Ben, I had a nice pattern up trim and stuff like that. But
do you know what? I get in 10 years' time, you're gonna have the Jason Statham look, bro. It's good.
And here we go. We've got the highest new lead trainer in professional boxing, Josh Pritchard, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, of Shane McGuigan's camp and working very closely with Adam Azim over the last couple of years. I just said to Adam there, looked in tremendous shape as he always does on the scales. Looks ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Done the weight really well this time. Super easy cut, to be honest. So, yeah, he's in good form. He's going to rehydrate really well and looking for a good performance tomorrow.
Now, Castillo, we were talking about making weight. I mean, Castillo's like kind of, he's still putting the feelers out there to box on misfits. Now, Josh is, as well as a great coach, he can kind of get you into shape. Castillo, what do you talk to Josh about? What are you looking to do?
I was just going to ask him, literally, summer's coming up soon. I'm trying to look sexy for the gal, I'm saying, what should I be eating, bro? I'm on a diet of pancakes and sugar-free Fanta right now, bro. What should I be eating?
High protein diet, mate. Get lifting some tin, pack the protein in, and you'll be good to go.
Big, I'm gonna say I'm gonna do that, but I'm probably gonna procrastinate and not do that, bro. But big man thing. I'm gonna think about the advice, man.
Now, Josh, away from Adam Azim, of course, I mentioned there that you're part of Shane McGuigan's training team. You've had Joshua Buatsi in the gym over the years. You've had Dan Azeez in the gym over the years. How do you see the fight playing out tomorrow night between those two?
Yeah, it's a really intriguing fight. I love both lads, really nice guys as well. I think it's going to be a good clash of styles, both aggressive. Buatsi likes to think and box behind the jab at times. It's hard to call it, but I love Dan. I think Buatsi might get to him a little bit later on. But I think Dan's awkward. Like he's really awkward. He puts the shots together well. It'll be interesting to see.
What I also want to know is that I remember in the Anthony Yard versus Bertabia fight, the last rounds when a fighter starts getting really, really tired, is that something that can be trained, stamina, or is it something that some people are just born with?
No, you can definitely train stamina. You just have to get used to doing the rounds at championship level. That's what it comes down to. I think both lads box at a high pace. I say Dan Azeez more so than Buatsi. But you can definitely build stamina, but I think it's the experience of knowing how to use your energy at times and not.
So you're saying in championship rounds, it kind of favors Dan Azeez going towards the end?
No.
Because of his tank?
Well, I think Buatsi might get it later on. But I think early on it's going to be really interesting.
Okay, Josh, before we let you go, I think we're going to do a quick McGuigan's gym shift and get Shane in here. But before we let you go, Adam Azim versus Enoch Paulson. I said to Adam, his last 3 fights, while he's got those rounds in, it's come against guys who haven't really, with respect to them, been coming to try and win the fight. They've been pretty much in reverse from the opening bell. Are you expecting something similar from Enoch Paulson, or are you expecting him to come and be a little bit more aggressive and play into Adam's hands?
Yeah, I think so. I think he looks like he's got the bit between his teeth there. I think Adam was winding him up. So I think Paulson's going to come to fight. He's going to try and take it to Adam, which is going to play in Adam's hands. He loves guys that walk onto him. So I think we're in for a good performance from Adam, and he's going to get to him later on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. It's Josh Pritchard here on One-on-One Boxing. Thanks for joining us. We'll do a quick switch and get the main man, Shane McGuigan, in.
Yes. Legend in the thing.
Checking the watch.
Come on.
There we go. How are you, Shane?
What's going on? Terrible, mate.
That's the firmest handshake I've ever felt in my life. Yo, come on.
How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow night. What about yourself? You good? You smell good?
100%
We're
looking
good.
forward to it.
I was just saying to Castillo, I think Castillo's been probably as involved in the build-up to this fight as any media member. So you've enjoyed it, haven't you? You've enjoyed being back around big-time boxing.
100%. Like, it's always great to be around and see the energy, even the trainers as well, because you guys, without you guys, this would not be happening.
Oh, don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. We don't need the ego any bigger.
My head's big.
No, the Bilham Smith-Lonzo Coley fight, that strategy you executed was like, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
I pretty much won that, didn't I?
No, I'm not gonna. In the build-up, I was watching a lot of your interviews just to see what you was gonna do, because Rob was trying to give me the tips of the betting. So I was like, I'm gonna watch.
Go Coley big.
Yeah,
Go Coley big.
Trust me. Let's move on from that. Shout out Chris Biddle-Smith, George Groves Boxing Club's finest. Shane, let's talk about Adam Azim. I just said to him here, as we all know, it's never pretty or never ideal or never pleasant when fighters make the weight, but by all accounts, he did the weight well this time. Looked good on the scales and looks ready to go tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, he looks good. He's 21. That weight hasn't caught up to him yet. Yeah, by the time he's 25, 26, it won't be as easy. But he does it all right. Caroline does it well too. So I'm really excited about her. Her opponent's well up for it. She just come out of the block, so I was loving it. So two opponents that generally want to come here and win, and that's what we want.
Castillo, we were talking before Shane came over about Caroline DeBar and what a big star she could be, not just for women's boxing, but be a crossover star in the mainstream in boxing. Shane, I know she's mandatory for the IBF and there's still kind of a bit of jiggery-pokery to be done with that, but how far away do you think she is from establishing herself as one of the best female fighters in the world?
Yeah, it's just about the opponents. I think she's a couple of fights away. I don't think the big dogs really want to fight her,
Alyssa Baumgart and people like that, like Katie Taylor, they look at her like she has to earn her stripes. And in this next fight, not this one, the one afterwards, she's going to start earning her stripes. She's going to earn her position to be at that world level because she's going to win a world title and then go on from there. But, you know, Beatrix Ferreira as well, her and Caroline are pretty much the next faces of the 135 division. And it might be not far away before we can get that fight on.
Adam Azim, as I mentioned earlier, kind of looking in great shape, raring to go ahead of tomorrow. But I said the same thing to Josh Pritchard and to him. His last few opponents haven't really given him much to work with. They've been in sort of reverse gear from the first bell. Do you expect him the same from me not pulsing? You expect him to be a little bit more aggressive?
Yeah, I think he's going to be negative. I think he'll be like Fanyan. He'll be aggressive in spells, and that's where Adam needs to pull the trigger and punch with him when he's aggressive, rather than just defend. And I think that's when he'll get him out of there. But that's the thing, he's had really good experience in the last couple of fights. He's stopped to go in a 10th round, he's gone 10 rounds before that, so like he's proven to himself. It's not like, I always knew he had the engine to go through, I always knew he had the boxing abilities to work these guys out, but he's proven to himself that he can dissect guys under the main lights, you know. With 8-ounce gloves on, it's one thing doing it in the gym and then there's another thing doing it in the fight. So Paulson's got his head right up in the air and he punches one or two too many shots. When he lets his hands go, he just lets that last 2 shots go, and I think that's when Adam's going to catch him.
As we just get ready for Dan Azeez to hit the scales here, let's just hear.
Tremendous
12
shape as
stone
always.
7 is the limit for light heavyweight.
He failed in the last one, didn't he?
12 stone 4, so
12 stone
light for
4.
Dan Azeez there.
He's overcooked it. Oh no.
Just explain that
Yeah,
to
what is that?
Castillo,
Just
everybody
explain,
else overcooking
you
the
might just
weight.
give me a betting tip right now. What are we saying?
When you overtrain, you waste a bit of muscle and stuff like that. So, no, but I think, to be honest, I've always said that Dan should be a super middleweight. And he laughs at me, but, you know, George Groves, if I can get George Groves to a super middleweight, Dan Azeez can do it. But I think he feels comfortable. I think he feels fresh. And a lot of time when they get too light, their punch resistance goes. And one of the things with Dan Azeez is he relies on that toughness. He relies on that punch resistance. I don't think he wants to get too light, but it was a bit of a worry him being 12-4 there. That's 3 pounds underneath the weight.
You heard it here first.
Shane, I'm going to push you for a prediction. I know you've had both in the gym. I know you get on very well with both, as does everybody in the gym. Both really good guys, but I'm going to put you on the spot. How does it end tomorrow night, Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez?
I do have to think it's a Buatsi win. I wouldn't be shocked if he stopped him in about 6 to 8 rounds. But I think the thing about Buatsi is he goes through his attacks and he goes through the gears. And if he hurts him and finds the finish, then he'll get him out of there. But one thing is, he doesn't sustain the attacks. And if he doesn't sustain the attacks, I think he's going to win on points.
And here we go. We're just waiting for Joshua Buatsi to hit the scales. Remember, 12 stone 7 is the official light heavyweight limit.
12 stone 6 pounds.
12 stone 6. So 1 pound inside the limit for Joshua Buatsi. Shane, we're going to let you go now while we watch the face-off. Shane McGuigan here.
Yes,
We're just going to have Jeamie TKV just pop in here. Jeamie TKV, heavyweight prospect. Always a pleasure.
Yes, my brother.
We're going to get the heavyweight people in here, Castillo. We're going to have to...
I feel the size difference too. You get me? I'm 6'5", but you get me? Like, it's close still, it's close.
Jamie, how are you? Big fight for you tomorrow night against Konstantin Dobyshenko, of course. Last time didn't go your way. We all know on your day what you can do. Wasn't you last time out, but I'm sure keen to rectify that tomorrow.
Oh, 100%. I know I would turn up to tomorrow. The last time I was out wasn't me. You know, I made a mistake, which I paid for, but that mistake is not going to happen again. But definitely a tough fight, a very durable opponent, and I'm just trying to showcase what I can do with a very tough and durable opponent.
And Dobyshenko, of course, never been stopped, had an upset win over Manny Harris, who's kind of a well-considered heavyweight prospect as well. So this is like you're going back in there and just looking to get a nice, easy knockover win. This is a real fight for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough opponent, but we want to stay at a certain level. So if we do knock down a few levels, it will take us a while before we can get back to the level that we want to get to. So it's good that we're starting here and pushing on from here.
And do you have any nerves about boxing at Wembley tomorrow? Because it's a really big deal boxing here.
You know what? This is my 4th time boxing here, so I ain't nervous. It's become home. You know what I'm saying?
So Jeamie, we're just going to turn around. We're going to have a look at the face-off, Jeamie. Here we go. It's starting to bubble up nicely, isn't it? It's built quite well this week, hasn't it?
You know what? It's a good fight. But you know what? I can't pick a winner, you know.
I don't say that because we're going to put you on the spot. You're going to have to give us a winner, Jeamie. You're going to have to at some point.
I promise you, I'm going to say draw. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Well, just talk us through the mindset of a fighter when you're having those face-offs. When you're there, like, what, are you a calm guy? Are you just going to... Obviously, you're not making weight, which is great. But it's not always the same for everybody. But what are you like when it comes down to the face-offs?
You know what? It's best to stay calm. You show any emotions, it just shows a bit of weakness, and you don't want to see your opponent seeing any weakness. Sometimes you look at people, I try and suss out any weakness. Look at their chest to see if their heart is beating, if they're looking at you properly, looking up and down. You know, but yeah, I just try and look at opponents and suss out any weakness. So sometimes you look at their chest, if it's moving fast, they're a little bit worried, you know what I'm saying? But none of them, everyone looks cool and collected up there, so.
It's good. It's quite a prolonged face-off as well, which we're always a big fan of the more lengthy face-offs. Doesn't look like they're going to be looking to break contact anytime soon. Is this like just a bit of theatre, or does this actually mean like if somebody breaks away first, do you take a mental edge from that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, that's you. I don't know. You could take it as he lost, I won the self. That's 1 point to me. It depends on how you take it mentally. Some people do it differently, but I mean, they both mean business from the looks of it. So
certainly do. Ben Shalom breaking up the face-off. What's that?
Wow, that's a powerful face-off.
You can't be breaking up the face-off.
That's a powerful face-off.
As we wait for Buatsi and Azeez to clear the stage. Jeamie, you train out of that Ben Davison gym in Harlow. We were there yesterday. Stacked full of talent. You got Fabio Wardy, of course, the son Anthony Joshua, who's just joined the gym. You got Lee Wood, you got McCormack. You got so much talent all around you. How important is that for this early stage of your career to be in there, be a sponge and learn from these great fighters?
Learning from them, the experience that you gain is second to none, like I always say. I mean, seeing what they do and why they are at the top of their game, you get to see it. You know what I'm saying? You get to train alongside them. You get to do the same work as them, gain the same knowledge as them. You can only develop the same way they do. So it's a pleasure being around them. It's a pleasure.
And we're a few weeks away from one of the biggest heavyweight fights in boxing. Literally. What's your prediction for that one?
Fury. Listen, I'm saying Fury because I want Fury to bring that belt back so he can fight Asia, and Asia can become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Mind games, bro.
Okay, Jeamie, all the best for tomorrow. Wish you all the best in your bout with Konstantin Dovbychenko. We're not going to ask him for his prediction because he already told me that he's not going to give us one. So we're going to wait for
That was an
Buatsi.
intense face-off.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan when they break it up. When promoters get in the middle, leave the fucking face-off alone. If they want to stand there for 10 minutes, well, however long. I've seen face-offs go for a couple of minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes.
I heard a man yelling out Lewisham on the side. I started getting a bit worried out here, bro. I was looking for the exit still. I don't know what man was on, bro. He started yelling Lewisham.
But like, listen, look, that is a factor of this fight. It's local bragging rights. You got Croydon against Lewisham. You got two guys from South. They're not going to like. The way that I'd heard it described the other day was, this is a barbershop fight.
Yes.
If you lose this, man, the next time hair's going to be out here because you can't go to the barbershop.
You
Everyone's
can't
going to
go
know.
creams with a girl, bro. You got to avoid creams and Croydon, bro. You got to chill out, lay low, bro. Casper's, shout out to Casper's, bro. No promotion, actually. No shout out to you.
No, exactly. You got to pay, bro. We're looking for a sponsor, actually, on One-on-One Boxing. So if any brands are watching this and you want to be on One-on-One Boxing, message Castillo on Instagram. Don't be trying to pay us in ackee and saltfish, bro.
And no bookie alcohol brands, bro.
No, we can't do that, man. We can't do that. This is a clean
thing.
Dan Azeez and Joshua Buatsi just taking their little post-fight interviews. I think they are both absolutely sick of talking, but we're going to try and get them on here anyway.
We're going to try anyway because we've been building up this thing.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm sure they'll be all right. This is a good thing you have Castillo here. If it was me, they just wouldn't come. Yeah. But here we go. I think we're waiting for them to potentially come along. Jordan Pollock, the man with a plan.
I'm excited,
out there looking to grab people. Are we?
Buatsi's got the banner right now, bro, looking like a Kuma from Street Fighter, bro. He's ready. I'm telling you, he's ready right now.
But Buatsi said, like, in the main event, don't forget to check out the main event with Castillo, Buatsi and Azeez, but he said, like, he doesn't need to. He goes from gym to home, gym to home, gym to
he's
home.
On a warrior thing right now, bro.
Exactly.
Literally, that's all he's on. And that's why his nickname, JB, is very fitting. He's just business for real. Like, and I think now that it's gotten so close, I think we're gonna get a different side to him, bro.
Yeah, I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing them because I think, like everyone, like, as obviously everyone did, enjoy the main event with yourself and both of them. But this is a very different vibe now. You know, since we spoke to them last week, they would have probably done 20, 30, 40 interviews being asked the same
we got
questions.
the best one though, still.
Yeah, 100%. The best ones on one-on-one boxing. Don't listen. All of these channels here today doing all of these interviews, Buatsi, just ignore them. Just watch the main event. If you've seen it once, do what I did, which I watched it 3 times on a day it came out. I watched the
High
premiere.
quality, bro.
Yeah, I had it on the TV. I had all sorts. I went and bought a new TV for it.
Them other men are shooting 480p, bro. We're 4K out here, bro. Them men are on the 480, bro. Real things.
We're just keeping an eye out here and just looking at who we might be able to nab. I know Jordan has made his way. I'm sure he's not going to come back empty-handed, Jordan. Jordan Party Time Pollock here.
Right now, so let me ask you, Rob. So right now that the weigh-in's done, what would Dan Azeez and Joshua Buatsi be doing right now? Would it be rehydrated?
Drinking water, eating food. To me, like, it's obviously each fighter is different in how they rehydrate, but generally speaking, like speaking to nutritionists and S&Cs and stuff, like the days, I mean, Ricky Hatton used to make weight and then in the morning he'd have like a big breakfast and a full English and stuff like that, but that's not the way things are done now. The way things are done now, generally speaking, from an S&C point of view and like nutritionist point of view, is you really don't want to be introducing anything to your body that's too alien. So if you've been eating salmons, chickens, like that sort of thing in the build-up, then when you make weight, you don't want to go and have a fucking Domino's.
For some reason, I thought you'd be allowed to go get like some sweet and sour chicken, Hong Kong style.
I mean, you can get stuff that obviously is not necessarily suitable for camp, but I think the days of fighters going and blasting a Domino's or whatever straight after the look, every fighter's different. Some fighters have a slightly different method to their madness, so to speak, but generally speaking, people will go and just have more of what they're used to. Like the rehydration and sort of weight making nowadays is far more science than it is, it's not vibes anymore, whereas this will work for you, son. Everybody has like a team of doctors like who can tell you exactly what is needed and exactly what you're putting in your body to optimize your performance.
So it's not an egg fried rice thing, bro.
It depends.
Avoid the eggs.
Some people don't mind it.
The egg rolled fried rice, bro. Big man thing. Come on.
I'm okay for a drink. I've got a water here for you if you want a water.
I'm gonna be on some Dan Azeez.
This is real. This is a real water. Don't worry about that. Shout out to the scrambled
50
eggs.
pounds of muscle after this.
As we look around, should we try and get Big Mo over? Big Mo. Might have to come out a little bit for Big Mo.
Yeah, Big
so you
Man
got Big
Ting.
Mo, Fat Rob, and Big Man Ting. There we go.
Come on.
As he's waiting over there, chilling. Got Buatsi with Sky. Just keeping an eye out. As we always do, we're going to try and deliver all of the big names to you here live.
I've got to say, being here with this atmosphere, I didn't realize how much goes into this. Like, bruv, these men's got some Michael Bay cameras out right now, bruv. Man's got a long stick crane thing with the camera, like, bruv. It's a lot of money in here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was this insane. That's how you know it's like one of my first times really being in a big fight.
This has been a while since we've done a big show together, hasn't it? I know in the last big show that we did together, we didn't even get to do. Shout out to Eggs, bro.
But it will be happening, hopefully. How likely is that to happen, bro?
What, like for this to be pulled now? I mean...
No, not this. I'm saying a rematch.
What, as in Conor Ben and Chris Eubanks?
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. But I'm really not too sure. We've got Big Mo.
Yes, we've got
Big Mo. Your new
coming.
best friend.
Big Man Ting, we've got Big Mo coming through, bro.
You've got
the real deal.
As he gets over here, looking sharp. It's always shit when somebody comes and stands in the middle wearing a suit because it makes me look even scruffier than I normally do. Big Mo, whenever you're ready.
Big Mo up in the middle. Come
We've
on.
got Big Mo.
Legend in the thing. Come on.
We're all very good, Mo. How are you?
I am juiced up right now after the weigh-ins. I love the weigh-ins because we can finally see them really get face-to-face. They finished the weight drain and all that type of stuff, and now they're ready to go to war tomorrow. I'm psyched.
Now, Castillo, we were talking before about Castillo potentially. I mean, we're obviously not looking to take your job because you call him Big Mo for a reason. But what do you think about Castillo potentially moving into the world of ring announcements?
Yeah, give me some tips. What tips would you give me?
Well, the thing is you have your own style, and that's the most important thing. But I think the biggest thing is how can you communicate that style to the audience to get them involved? You know what I'm saying? Big Man Ting.
So I got to ask you this, though. See that Big Man Ting? See that, bruv? That's a shout out right there.
Big Mo Ting.
Big Mo Ting, bruv. You heard it here.
Trademark that.
Who did you look up to growing up watching them? Who influenced you?
I've always been a big fan of the Buffer brothers.
Come
I
on,
love
bro.
Michael Buffer. I love Bruce Buffer. I think that they're legends. I try to kind of look at my style and almost kind of be a cross between the two. You know, Michael had all that swagger and that charisma and really formal with his introductions. And then Bruce brings that energy and that passion.
Yes.
So I kind of like to be a mix of both if I can.
You're also better dressed than both of them. I'll be very honest with you, bro.
I appreciate
Show us
that.
the drip right now. Look at
Oh,
this.
we got. I mean, it is a three-piece, but I'm not wearing the jacket. So we got a vest, we got trousers, a little bit of brown leather. Always match the leather, match the shoes, match the watch. I'm not wearing a belt. There's little
What
subtleties to it.
size shoe are you?
I wear a 15 or 16 US.
Bruv.
You know what they say about big feet?
I don't know, bro.
Big
Shout out
shoes.
to the LGBT people, but
Big
they'll know,
Mo.
man. But big man.
Okay, well, we love you, but we're going to have to let you go because we've got Joshua Buatsi here, and
Yeah, he's more important than me.
he wants to
No,
go and
Big
get a
Mo's
drink and go
always
and get some
important,
food.
bro.
Do your thing, fellas.
Big Mo, thanks very much for
Thank
joining
you
us.
so much, man.
Big Mo Ting here
Big
on
Mo Ting,
101
bro.
Boxing. And he's gone. Joshua Buatsi just jumping there and doing. Okay, we've actually got a minute or so. Thanks very much for joining us, Mo. But yeah, well,
Bro,
one
the
question
drip
that
was
I wanted
mad
to
at that,
ask
bro.
him.
The
Yeah,
drip
but
was
he-
crazy.
Yeah, it's always a shame because
I
he
need to
stands
start wearing
in the best.
suits, bro. I need to wear some suits.
Yeah,
now.
this is perfect.
Get me, bro. It's RD Das, bro. You get me, bro. Lavish things. Come on.
Yeah, he's looking good. He is looking good. One of the questions I wanted to ask him. So we interviewed Jimmy Lennon Jr. when we were in
Lennon,
Vegas.
yes,
He's
yes,
like,
yes.
with respect, you know, you have Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon, sort of the two main
Showtime.
guys. Who do you think wins the fight out of Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon Jr.?
I think Jimmy Lennon, you know, bro.
It's kind of like youth.
He looks like he could get mad with it. I'm not gonna lie.
Right, so Buatsi, I think, is going to be over on this way in a couple of minutes.
Got
As we know,
Buatsi,
Buatsi, not always the most talkative, although he does love you. So I think we keep it nice and light when
Yeah,
Buatsi
of
comes
course.
over. What do you think?
Man ain't eating in a while, literally. Real talk. I'm not trying to get on his bad side today, but be serious. When I looked in his eyes, like I said, the spirit of Kimbo Slice, bro. Real talk. You saw the picture, bro. I was not wrong, was I? I told you, man. That's what he looked like. I'm telling you.
We'll have to ask him about his post weigh-in and nutrition. But
Yes,
what are we going to do
yes.
for food? We're going to go for food after this, aren't we?
Yeah, bruv, I'm a bit hungry. You know, I woke up at 6 a.m. just to get here, bruv. Real talk, like, I'm not really an early morning type of person, bruv. I like waking up, scratching my legs. You get me, bruv? Do some chair aerobics, get the circulation out, bruv. Yeah, but I'm glad I'm here today, bruv.
As I said, we only bring you out for the big ones, and it
Come
is a
on.
big one tomorrow night. It's Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez. Friends turned foes, unbeaten versus unbeaten. Buatsi is on the move at the minute. Are we going to get Buatsi to pop over? He is sort of this and
Buat's
that.
trying to air us right now,
That's
bruv.
okay. No, he's seen us already. He's going to
Big
come over.
man thing.
He's going to come over.
This is the one time you can't blame man, bruv. You
Well,
get
this
me?
is, yeah, you never push when it comes to stuff like this.
There was a man up there yelling Lewisham, bro, but he didn't look like he's from Lewisham. He looked like he was from Seven Oaks, bro. Don't know where he was from, bro, but shout out to him still.
He's just trying to start some trouble, I think. I
Big
think we've
man
got,
thing.
here we
Yes,
go. We've got the
Buatsi
main
coming
man himself,
through. Yes.
Joshua Buatsi.
Come on, my broski.
It's just
Come on.
business. It's Joshua Buatsi. Josh, we're not going to keep you too long. I'm going to preface things with that because I know that you're going to want to you're going to do your drinking and your eating and stuff. But you looked in tremendous shape up there. I know
Yes.
by now you're just ready to fight.
Yeah, man, I'm going to eat. Surprisingly, guess what I'm going to eat?
What you
Some
gonna
Ghana jollof. So Castillo,
Come on,
make
bro.
sure you man pull up. That's what I'm going to eat.
Big
So
man
it's,
thing.
it's up there, so make sure you come grab your
Come
own.
on, come on.
Now, Buatsi, obviously we had you last week. We had the main event with Castillo and Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez. Going to put it out there, Josh. Did you enjoy it?
It was good. It was great fun. Like I said, my guy here, he asked some questions that I didn't expect. But listen, great addition to the boxing scene.
I think it was great because people got to see another side to you as well. Because when you're quite reserved, I like that you showed a lot of more personality tonight. It was great, very entertaining.
For sure, man, for sure.
No, we're not going to keep you too long, Josh. I am going to ask you. I know how much he doesn't like doing these at this stage. But final question from me before we get you out of here. How does it end tomorrow night? Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez.
I win, man. I win at all costs. You're asking me how. I don't know the how, but I'm going to make sure my hands raised at the end.
Still a final word with you.
Big man thing. I just got to say that was an intense stare down, bruv. I'm super charged for this tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it, bruv.
for the jollof, Castillo.
Big man thing. I'm coming for it
too.
Come on.
Joshua Buatsi, all the best tomorrow night. The main event and the main event.
Bruv,
Joshua Buatsi
I'm so excited
and Castillo.
right now,
When
so
it gets to this stage, that's why I have to say every question was, Josh, I don't want to keep you too long because I don't want you to hit me.
I can feel the leanness in him right now, but you can feel it.
Yeah, it's
literally.
true, because we've got Virgil Hunter there walking past, trainer
Yes, legend,
of Joshua
legend of the
Buatsi,
game.
of course, legendary former trainer of one Andre Ward as
Yes.
well.
That's
There's the guys, the main men, walking past with Team Buatsi. But yeah, Joshua Buatsi, as you said, just business, and it is at that stage where all of the talking is very much done for him, isn't it?
100%. Like now, this is the time when I feel like the friendship thing is off the table now. Before it was like banner, keeping it respectful. Now it's almost like it's time.
Yeah.
It's time right now. So, bruv, We're in for a big one tomorrow. This is a great start to the year, you know. Well, January was a bit slow, but this is February right now, brother. It's going to be a big one. This is a great month for boxing.
Yeah, we're back into the swing of things now, aren't we? We're cooking. And speaking of cooking, Ghanaian jollof.
Bruv, that's the food right
He's
there,
going
bruv.
straight for the Ghanaian jollof afterwards.
Lie, bruv.
And apparently we've now both got an open invitation as well to the Ghanaian jollof party tomorrow.
I'm excited, bruv. Big man sing. I'm gassed.
Well, when Dan Azeez comes, man, we'll just talk about the Nigerians.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to get matched up by Dan
Snake
Azeez.
out here, bruv. You got to keep it unbiased, bruv. Real talk. Come on. But literally, is this the first where you're getting two friends that are really kind of... I haven't really had this storyline in boxing in a long time.
I mean, you get, obviously, being in the same way, and particularly domestic fights, like, a lot of sparring tends to be, you know, people will share a few rounds with each other. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're friends. You can spar 300 rounds with somebody and think he's a dickhead, but because he's the same weight as you and it's good work or you specifically need for a fight, you do a lot of sparring. Whereas in the other side of things, you can get what we've got today, which has got Buatsi and Azeez, who've known each other for a long time. They've sort of, I say come up together. Buatsi was already up, and Azeez has really, you have to say, closed the gap in the last few years. I think 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of people would have looked at this as a bit of a mismatch, but it's very much not that now. It's a good fight. But they've spent so much time around each other, and they're both lovely guys, as we know. Naturally, you do become friends, but it's certainly not the first time, and certainly won't be the last time that we get two guys who probably in an ideal world wouldn't fight each other. But look, this is a business, and they've both been training for years and years and years for this, so they'll put the friendship to one side, and as soon as that first bell goes at the weekend, they're not going to be friends anymore.
I gotta ask you this, Rob, being a boxing expert, this is something a lot of people haven't spoken about, so I really want your thoughts on this. Everybody's spoken about the fight tomorrow and what's going to happen, but what happens after? What happens to the loser of this fight? Where do they go?
I think it depends on who loses and how they lose. And that's not me sort of having a cop-out, but that generally is the case when you've got fights like this. I think Joshua Buatsi needs to win this fight more than Dan Azeez does. Look, both guys are going to want to win the fight. Both guys are, on the fringes of a world title, as well as bragging rights, all of that stuff, that all comes into it. But when you consider where Buatsi has been in his career, Olympian, signed to Anthony Joshua's management team, he was kind of earmarked very early before he turned pro as a potential future superstar of the sport. If he were to lose to Dan Azeez, it would make people rethink where he's at in his career. I think the general feeling on Buatsi is he hasn't really kicked on as much as people maybe expected or maybe wanted him to, but he's still the favourite in this fight. So I think if Buatsi wins, I don't think it's that detrimental to Dan Azeez's career, because British, Commonwealth, European, all of that stuff is just 1 second. All of that stuff. Well, I'm holding off the. Actually, we'll wait. We'll do a big celebration. But anyway, whereas I think for Azeez, with respect to him, and he'd be the first to admit this, he wasn't ever really expected to get to this level. If Dan Azeez gives a good account of himself tomorrow and comes up short, he can go again. If Buatsi loses to Dan Azeez, it would be a detrimental effect to his career more so, I think.
And should Azeez win, are we talking about a big star now in boxing?
For sure. I mean, if Azeez wins, I would imagine it's going to be a world title next, or it's going to be Anthony Yard next. But enough from me. Let's bring in the one and only Andy Clarke.
Big man sing. Come on.
People may know him as Sky Sports, Andy Clarke, but here's the boxing show, the award-winning boxing show.
That's it.
Come on.
Co-host. How are you, Andy?
Very well, mate. Very well. Still buzzing from the news yesterday. Still just basking in the glory. When I walked through the door, the first thing I saw was Talk Sports set up as Simon Jordan doing a show with Spencer, our great pal Spencer Oliver.
This is the winner's circle.
It was all I could do not to just get right up in their face.
I was saying to Ben Shalom earlier that this is the prime spot. This is right in the middle where the weigh-in.
Right now, we're VIPs, bro.
Exactly.
They're very important people.
And if we were second, we would have been where Talk Sport are today. So thanks very much for that, everybody. But let's talk about the fight, and everybody remember to watch the boxing show every Monday at 5 o'clock on Boxing News. Andy, let's talk about the fight. We obviously had a delay. We had injuries. We had a back and forth, but we're here now, and it's beautiful.
It's great, and I love a bit of drama at the weigh-in. I don't know, what did you make of all that carry on? Because Dan was late, and we were talking about, is it because he's tight at the weigh-in? I thought, well, Dan's not the king of timekeeping. Like when he boxed in Paris, he missed his Eurostar, for example, on his way over there. Things happen to Dan Azeez. He's one of those lads, basically. So I wasn't convinced that it necessarily was. But then when he comes in, he weighs in at 2.5 pounds under the limit, which is absolutely, it's a massive amount. So I went and had a quick chat with Larry Ekandeo, who's basically training for this fight. Buddy McGuigan's coming quite late, isn't he, buddy? And said, is there any kind of problem? Has he not been ill this week, has he? Because that'd be a reason why you might. Yeah. And he said, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. He wasn't vexed or stressed. you know, if there'd been a problem, he's probably not going to tell me, but I think I would know if he was spinning me a line, because he's just quite an open book, Larry, isn't he? And he was very zen, very chilled out, and just said, no, we trained well, and that's where we ended up. So
we had Shane McGuigan here, and we actually had Shane during the weigh-in. So when Shane heard that he was 2.5, 3 pound or whatever it was under the limit, he said, "Oh, he's overcooked the weight." And whether or not it's, you know, obviously this has been delayed, so the fighters, they would have been out of the gym for a little bit, but they wouldn't have been putting on lots of weight. So lots of training in the gym, potentially a little bit leaner, but he didn't look like somebody who had, you know, been dragged out of the sauna. He still looked pretty good, and he looked pretty full, albeit he was quite significantly under the weight, which is not something you usually see for a fight of this magnitude.
No, it's not, and sometimes, I don't know, maybe their scales were off, but the fact that he's come in at that weight and he hasn't had to kill himself to get there shows that, yeah, maybe their scales were a little bit off, but he looked good, I thought. And he wasn't stressed when he arrived either. It wasn't like he was late. He didn't have that vibe of someone who was late because he'd desperately been running around the block trying to lose that last bit and nothing would come out of him. He didn't look like that at all. He looked slightly sheepish. Yeah. Like slightly embarrassed. 100%. Because I suspect there may be some kind of vaguely comedy reason for him being late that he's just not going to tell us, not yet anyway.
Do you think there's any potential element of a bit of gamesmanship, just making him wait? Obviously they are friends, but, you know, when it gets down to war and we're very much at that door, strange things happen.
Yeah, I think, possibly, because you know, you look at the routes they've had to this point, these two, with Josh with the Olympics and everybody wanted to sign him. You have to work very, very hard, obviously, but he's been on big shows pretty much all the way through. Everything's organised down to the minute, cars laid on and this and that and the other. Dan's not really had that. So maybe he is playing a few games with him today because he doesn't stay in the fight week hotel on fight week, Dan. It's a thing of his. He likes to stay at home. I remember speaking to him after he won the British title and his heater had broken and it was the middle of winter and he still wanted to stay at home because he wanted the cold, he wanted the hardship. You know, that's how he likes to do it.
Very Hagler-esque.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
Sorry.
Go on, Castillo.
No, what did you make of from the face-off? Because that was a very, very intense face-off.
Yeah, it was. I didn't really expect anything different. I just feel like they're both just very, very resolute. Very, very resolute. I know they've sparred a lot, but even if Josh has had the better of most of them, which he might have done, if Dan's had the better of enough of them, and one of them's been quite recent, that'll do, won't it? In terms of your self-belief, that'll do.
And it's something that we spoke to Chris Billham-Smith about, of course, in a very similar situation when he boxed Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence Okolie got top side of him, as we call it, in those spars a lot of the time, and Lawrence Okolie's talking about Myris Bradis and Arsene Goulamarian and all of these guys. I don't think that there's necessarily the risk of Joshua Buatsi overlooking Dan Azeez, but how could you not subconsciously think in the back of your mind, yeah, well, I dominated 80-90% of those spars, but for somebody like Dan Azeez, he would have been looking at Buatsi, as we've heard from him, as the man he needs to get to, the man he needs to be, whereas Buatsi has been looking at Bivol and Beterbiev and Anthony Yard. Do you see that?
Yeah, and I think psychologically, if you do feel like you're better than the other person, and you know that historically you have been in sparring, then shifting that mentality to trying to treat him like your equal might be a bit tricky. You can try as hard as you want to do it, but you might not quite be able to manage it. But I think, funnily enough, one thing that might work well for Buatsi in this fight is I feel like Azeez and his team, and Buddy McGirt particularly, will approach it in a way that I think they'll feel that he needs to be and come out quick, and in as educated as a way as he can, jump on him. I think that's maybe quite a good thing for Buatsi as well, though. That would be my worry for Team Azeez. I do feel like that's what they have to do, but I feel like if you do that to Buatsi, that might just reawaken the kind of beast in him a bit, because we haven't seen that for a little while.
No, we haven't, and it is very much in there, as you know from the amateurs. He does have that devil in him, Joshua Buatsi. Something that we were talking about, Castillo, beforehand, was who the pressure's on this fight. For me, Andy, I think that the pressure is on Joshua Buatsi in this fight. I think Joshua Buatsi not only needs to win this fight, but I think he needs to win well.
Yeah, I agree that it would appear that he's got further to fall than Dan. You know, Dan's made amazing progress. The last 2-3 years, it's been an absolute joy watching it. I remember commentating on his Southern Area title fight then, English, British, Commonwealth, European. The English title's been in operation for about 20 years, and that's the first time anyone's done that, won all of those titles. There's other fighters who would have done if the English had been around, probably, but he's the only one who's actually done it. So it's old school, and that's very much what he is. But I think I think there is more pressure on Buatsi, but again, I just don't feel like that's necessarily a bad thing, because pressure is for high achievers. It's everywhere. It's what you have to be able to deal with it. You have to relish it. You have to embrace it. And if he's going to go on and do what we've always thought he could, Buatsi, and be what we've always reckoned he could be, then he needs to put on a career best performance this weekend. Dan could come again. Should he lose, he can come again.
I was just going to ask, me and Rob were talking about this. Should Dan Azeez win the fight tomorrow, what would you like to see him in next?
I mean, I just still love the idea of some of our domestic light heavyweights having a bit of a round robin. You know, I'm a big Anthony Yarde fan.
Yes.
I love the light heavyweights. I think in Azeez and Buatsi and Yarde and Craig Richards and Lyndon Arthur and Callum Smith, all of them, I just think they're all really good for the sport. I think they're all interesting. I think they all represent their areas really, really well. They all care about where they're from and about the community and all of that good stuff. They don't really trash talk, but they're tough men.
Yeah.
You know, they won't push other people around, but they won't be pushed. You know, and I love that. That's my kind of fighter. So if whilst Better Biev and Bivol are fighting, and maybe they fight in June or July, and then maybe they have a rematch. The rematch wouldn't necessarily have all the belts, but maybe they have a rematch. So maybe there's going to be a bit of waiting to be done. In the meantime, make some money and fight each other, because, you know, why not? You know, you look at what Eubank and Ben and Watson and people like that did, the interest they managed to generate doing that, basically. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that would be quite similar to almost like a few years ago when they had Mikkel Kessler and then, was it Andre Ward when they did that?
They did the Super 6 and Super Middleweight. We're big fans, aren't we, of any tournament structure? World Boxing Super Series and Super 6?
Yeah, always, absolutely, yeah. It's really interesting to see Matchroom's announcement this week about their prize fighter. I'd heard rumours about it, and I hadn't really paid that much attention, just because I thought it was probably going to be the on-the-night thing. But, you know, having that format where you know how often you're going to fight and who you're going to fight with good notice and there's good money involved and all the rest of it, it's, you know, you've always got problems with injuries, or you can have. But when it gets it right, tournament boxing, it's the best thing. And arranging a tournament between the light heavies would probably be quite tricky. But something like that, where you'd think, all right, well, if I win this one, those two are fighting. And the logical thing is for the two winners just to fight each other. Get busy and make some money, lads.
Absolutely. Right, Andy, before we let you go, just want to touch on a couple of little bits on the undercard. Notably Adam Azim, who boxes Enoch Paulson. I said to Adam, I said to Shane, McGuigan, his trainer, when they came over, you know, I'm expecting Enoch Paulson to maybe give Adam Azim a little bit more this weekend. I'm expecting him to present a little bit more of an offensive threat than we've seen for some of Adam's last fights, and I do expect that to play into his hands.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he had a really good year last year. You know, 3 fights, 30 rounds, 1 stoppage. It was just what he needed. I think Shane kept him on quite a tight leash last year. I think they wanted the rounds. They probably could have let him go a bit earlier against Pettersson maybe, but Pettersson was kind of coping until all of a sudden he wasn't. And that's what happens when you're in with somebody you can really whack. Paulson, I watched a long documentary a friend of mine sent me from Denmark, it's an hour long. And what impresses me about him is his mental strength, because he was out for nearly 3 years with a knee injury, and he had surgery on it, and he just wouldn't respond. And there was COVID as well. And all that time, there's these like quite gloomy shots of him going to the gym and just with the kind of like band on, just trying to work his knee, and it's just nothing's happening for him. And he's probably thinking, I'm never going to box again. This is never going to happen. And he went straight back into a European title fight against a solid enough guy in Pettersson, beat him, then had some time out of the ring there. It dislocated his shoulder 3 times in that fight, but kept putting it back in and got the win. So he's got some minerals. I just don't think he's as good as Azim. That's the problem he's going to have. And he's only made that weight twice in the last 4.5 years, so I wonder how hard that was. I think it was probably pretty hard. But I do think that he'll give it a real good crack. I do think he will. And I think Shane might let Azim go a bit earlier than he has done previously.
And the final one that I want to talk to you about is Caroline Dubois. A bit of spice in the face-off, Andy. We like a bit of spice here on one-on-one boxing. We don't like that. I hate a handshake. Like, I want as an intense of a face-off as we can get. And I think that was the most intense one we've had so far from Caroline Dubois.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I just love the way she's just kind of developing in every sense, inside the ring, outside the ring. I saw this thing on Sky Editions she did where it's a photo shoot and she's talking about how she likes to dress and makeup and stuff. The things that went over my head, to be honest with you. But it's the all-round package is important, isn't it? You know, image is important. But in the ring, you know, she's a machine. And she's got that nasty streak to her. I would love to see her put on a really dominant display tomorrow night and then just come out of the ring and shout Katie Taylor's name. That fight's almost certainly not going to happen. We know that, but just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. They wanted a world title fight for her tomorrow night. But just for various interesting reasons, they didn't manage to get it over the line. I know they're working really hard to get it next time, but that's what she needs, because the only danger with her is that it's probably hard to get a sparring as well, is stagnation. You've just got to keep her kicking on and kicking on.
And speaking of the total package, we spoke to Ben Whittaker earlier on about how the antics and the showboating and stuff, and he mentioned how he's very in tune with entertaining people. What's your thoughts on the upcoming boxers tapping into the sort of social media world and trying to get themselves out there and marketing themselves?
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because you need that, show business with blood, as someone described it years and years ago, and that's what it is. In boxing, it's not enough just to win. You need to win and win well. If even a football team win every game 1-0 in the World Cup, we'll all go crazy and say won the World Cup. No one's going to turn around and say, well, that wasn't great. You didn't score many goals. But in boxing, we want to see people knock people out. That's what we want to see. And that's what we saw Whittaker do in his last fight. I'm all for it because I know with him that he doesn't cut corners. He works hard. He knows what this business is. He knows that he's rolling the dice every time he gets in there, and he's prepared to do it. And the showmanship, yeah. If you've got a kind of angle you can take, and you're consistent with it, and it is you, because authenticity is important, isn't it? Then yeah, why not? Let's see as much of it as possible. It frustrates me when somebody comes out of the ring and they put on a good display, and somebody says, "Who do you want to fight next?" And they'll say, "Oh, well, I leave that to my team." I'll just no.
We've said that ourselves about 5 times.
Have a name in your mouth. Come out and shout that name. Look down the barrel of the camera. That's what. You look at WWE, and I know it's not a sport because it's an enormous amount of athleticism, but it is scripted. Yeah. But that's why people like it, because they come away from a fight night feeling like they know who this guy they saw, who they really liked. They feel like they know what he's going to do next. So it's easier to follow the story.
Okay, right, Andy, I know you well enough to know now that I'm not going to be stupid enough to finish this with a prediction, but what can we expect to see tomorrow night? Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez at Wembley Arena. What can we expect to see?
I think Dan's going to come out quick. I think he does need to come out quick. And I think Buatsi will meet fire with fire. I don't think it'll go much past halfway.
There we go. Expecting fireworks tomorrow night at Wembley Arena. Andy Clarke, of course, a co-host of the best combat sports podcast in the world.
Bruv.
Number one, bruv. The rest of you just go home and eat whatever. I'll leave it to you, Castillo. You tell them. There we go. Anyway, Andy, thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you on Monday at 5 o'clock for the boxing show on Boxing News. I think everything's starting to filter out a little bit now. We might be able to catch a couple of stragglers.
Big man thing. Andy mentioned Vince McMahon as well, WWE, bruv. Vince and the mad text messages, bruv. I read them because you're moving mad. You get me? But shout out to Vince.
Yeah, we'll go for the WWE stuff just without all of the extra bits, bruv. Yeah, he's moving mad. Uncle Vince, bruv. But as we have a look around here, Castillo's starting to slow down a little bit now, which is what's mainly appealing to me now.
4, 5, 6 podcasts they've left, bruv.
Yeah, exactly. They went all the time. They're outside, but I'm looking around now at what we're potentially going to eat afterwards. What are you thinking?
The jollof, bruv.
The jollof.
Big man thing.
Speaking of which, have we missed Dan Azeez? Have we missed Dan Azeez? Officially, the Ghanaian jollof is clear of the Nigerian one.
0.2 pounds now, bruv. That's what he's thinking about.
He's got an extra couple of pounds to play with now. What we're looking at here, we've got Yorkshire burrito. That sounds a bit mad. Look, Yorkshire burrito. That's a culture clash of ours.
Big man thing. I don't know about them ones there, bruv. I remember, kind of reminds me of Chiquitos, bruv. had the maddest bellyache in life, bruv. Bruv, never again, bruv. No shout out to them.
Definitely not. We've got to keep you in good spirits anyway ahead of tomorrow, because you'll be there tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be at the fight tomorrow. I can't wait. The energy is going to be electric. I'm not going to lie. At first, the build-up was nice, but I feel like now that we've seen them face-to-face and potentially having 8,000 people tomorrow at the fight, the atmosphere is going to be mad. We're going to really see the South London clash tomorrow. It's going to really be in full effect, so I'm excited about that.
I think basically Fight Week just picked up as soon as we did the main event.
I'm not going to lie, bruv. Like, You heard Ben Shalom as well, bruv. A lot of man's getting fired, bruv. Big man thing. You're taking your jobs, bruv. Come on, bruv.
Okay, I think we're probably about there now for the live
Yes.
stream here. I'll just give a little scan before Dan hits the red button and see if there's anybody else that we might want to join us here on One-on-One Boxing. Any interesting folk, anybody going once, going twice. Done. We're gonna cut from here.
Number one stream, bruv. We already know.
Thanks for joining us here on One-on-One Boxing. We've been live at the Buatsi Azeez weigh-in. Don't forget to let us know in the comments.
Like and subscribe as well, bruv.
Like and subscribe. We've got lots coming back for you. It's been Tebbutt and Castillo back again after 15, 16 months. We'll be back tomorrow, won't we, Castillo?
We'll be back here live and direct, bruv, for a big fight tomorrow. Dan Azeez, Joshua Buatsi. Lock in. There we